In not so shocking news, woke ideology is being taught in Church of England schools. Hi, welcome to the channel. My name is Rev Dan. I'm a vicar in the Church of England, and if you haven't heard this new story, I'm pretty surprised. Most of the headlines are leading that this is a Church of England school, kind of saying what's going on here. It's a Church of England school. We would expect better, and we should expect better in a Church of England school. But as we all know, the Church of England's all over the place on this itself. So how can the schools be any better? So we have a video come out of an audio recording of two 13-year-old girls who are speaking with their teacher in a PSHE lesson, sex, health and education lesson, where they're being taught woke ideology in there, and a conversation develops between these two girls and the girls and Fred, because one of the girls said, "I could be a cat," and they respond, "You can't be a cat." These two girls are they're standing on their beliefs that they have been taught. They're based. They believe that there are two genders. The teacher steps in and says, basically, "You're absolutely wrong," and goes so far to tell them that they should go to another school. It's horrendous listening. I'm going to play the transcript in full, and you can see it's the teacher's like, you either change your mind or and fall in line, and these girls won't, and then it's going to get worse, to be reported to, I guess, the head teacher or someone.
How dare you? You've just really upset someone. Saying things like should be in an asylum.
I didn't say that. I just said if they want to identify as a cat or something, then they're like genuinely unwell.
Then they've gone,
yeah, they're crazy.
You were questioning their identity.
No, I wasn't a question. I was just saying about the gender. I didn't say anything about them.
But where did you get this idea from that there's only two genders?
I just think it's my opinion.
That is my opinion.
If I respect their opinion, can't they respect my opinion?
It is not an opinion.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
but
It's not an opinion you can have.
Loads of people think there's only two genders.
There's only a boy and a girl.
Literally. There's no other private part. There's only two.
Gender is not linked to do with the
There is
the
only two
parts that
genders.
you were born with. Gender is about how you identify, which is what I said right from the very beginning of the
I just don't
lesson.
agree with that. So why should I have to listen to something I don't agree with?
Biological sex, there is actually three biological sexes, because you can be born intersex. You can be born with male and female body parts or hormones.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, there's three. There's not 300.
Doesn't mean.
Yeah, there's three. I'm talking about biological sex. In terms of gender, there are lots of genders. There is transgender. There is agender, people
Yeah,
that
but
don't
there is
believe
that.
they have a gender at all.
Yeah, but you can't have that.
You can't have that. It's not a law.
Yeah, but it's
not a law, but it's our opinion. We just don't agree with it. We just think it's all just.
if you have a vagina, you're a girl. If you have a penis, you're a boy. That's
Yeah.
it.
But cisgender is not necessarily the way to be. You were talking about the fact that cisgender is the norm, that you identify with the gender of the sexual order that you're born with,
Yeah.
or you're with. That's
Yeah.
basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Which is really despicable.
How? When it's
If I
literally
called
true.
my mum right now, my mum would
Same.
feel my side.
If I called my mum, she'd say.
Well, that's very sad as well then.
How is it?
Loads of people agree with that. There's only a small majority of people who actually think that.
And why do you think we have so many problems in the world with homophobia?
Yeah, but
Because
that's
of
not
people
homophobia.
expressing.
That's gender.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
it
fine with
is.
lesbians and gay people.
Same.
I've got nothing against them.
Yeah, same.
But gender there is a link between it, and you're
How?
saying that people
There
can't
isn't
change
one. No,
who
they
they want
can't.
to be.
They can't. Unless you
You're
get a
so
penis
wrong.
attached. No, I'm not.
You're confusing sex and gender.
No, I'm not though. Because
Yes,
if you have a
you are.
vagina, you're a girl. If you have a penis, you're a boy.
Yeah, you can't have a vagina and be a girl, but then
Gender
if
is
Unless you
Right.
get surgery, and even then,
Gender
because
is
you've got
about
those genes.
how you identity.
I just
How you
don't agree with
identify.
it.
Yeah,
But
just
it's
fine.
not an opinion
Yes,
that
it
we
is.
express in this
Yes,
school.
it is.
No, it's not. And if you don't like it, you need to go to a different school. So
I did go to a
I'm
different
reporting you to Miss Willis. You need to have a proper educational conversation about equality, diversity and
I ain't
inclusion.
doing it. My mum
Because
doesn't
I'm
let me
not
do that.
having that expressed in my lesson. When I'm teaching you about you can be who you want to be,
Everyone else
how
thinks
you
it.
identify is up to
So
you.
everyone else thinks it. They just don't say it because then all this
Yeah.
happens.
Maybe because they're polite and maybe they're sensitive.
I haven't said anything in all of the lessons I've been in. It's just because they turned around and started saying something. So I said, how can you identify as a cat when you're a girl?
Oh, well, they're now writing a statement. I would imagine that you'll be asked to write a statement as well.
We will.
Yeah, we will.
Pretty horrendous listening, right? Absolutely, especially as a Church of England priest. Where are the values? Well, the church is part of the Aquinas Trust, named after Thomas Aquinas. I don't think he would like his name being dragged through the mud over this. The Aquinas Trust has, I think, 11 schools, and it says many of our schools are Church of England schools, and the trust is founded on Christian values. Really, founded, why are you letting this get through? It says in bold here on their website, to us that means celebrating individuals, embracing differences and welcoming children of all cultures and all religions or none. So that's their interpretation of the whole of Christian values in the educational setting. That I think they could have got a lot more out there to talk about protecting our children, teaching our children, and especially remember our Lord Jesus Christ being in the temple at 12 years old, teaching their teachers. I think there's something in that and aspirational in that, totally missed. So it is a Church of England school. It is based on Church of England or Christian values, should I say, but obviously it isn't, because this PSHE is getting overruled. But it's not just putting that curriculum in. Every church, every school has to do this curriculum. It's how it's taught. And it's the teacher believing that they can go so far to speak that way to 13-year-old children. They're in the second year of secondary school, the second year, year 8, and good on their parents. At what you heard at one point, one of the girls said, "I'll call my mum," and she would say the same, that there's two genders, before the teacher interrupted. But the teacher, thinking that she's got every right to say this and to go that far, it's absolutely shocking. Just looking at an article here from one of the local papers, it's horrendous that the teacher can say that the pupil is despicable for her views, which have been held. It's only for since time began. It's only lately that these views are changed. Remember, this is within the Church of England school. And then go on to say, and this is the worrying part, you are confusing sex and gender. If you don't like it, you need to go to a different school. This is a Church of England school. You'd expect other schools saying you should go to that Church of England school where you can have those beliefs. But I don't know where this child would go. And then she goes on, I am reporting you to senior staff. You need to have a proper educational conversation about equality, diversity and inclusion, because I'm not having that expressed in my lesson. So you need to go off and be indoctrinated further up the line, because I'm not having this in my lesson, so I'm going to send you off. So this is rife in the school. And the question is, this is partly Aquinas Trust, holding the Christian values. Where's the Church of England in this? If you have a franchise, or you work for a company, and you or use their logo or name in any way, you'd expect that company that's letting the franchise use their name or whoever to adhere by the rules. And now the Church of England's name yet again is being dragged through the mud, because this is freely being allowed to happen in one of its schools, and it should not be happening in one of its schools. The Bible clearly says that there are two genders, and even when this teacher goes, well, actually there's 3, there's intersex. Well, these are people who unfortunately are born with both genitalia, but they choose which sex they are going to identify with. It's got nothing to do with the 87,000 different genders. It is unfortunate and quite a difficult thing for these people to go through, but they go on to be either male or female. It's one or the other. I guess there's some that might have both, live both. I'm not quite sure on that. But so this teacher who's just pushing this ideology on these children and feeling quite free in doing that is very worrying for us in the Church of England, with schools affiliated with the Church of England. And everybody knows faith schools, especially Church of England schools, are good schools to go to, good secondary schools to go to, because you get a really good education, because the values that are put in, the values just aren't here, and it comes back onto the rest of us as well in churches. Church of England schools, that's what you teach in. This is what you're teaching in the churches. No, we do not teach there's however many genders out there. We teach that there are two genders, and we recognise there's intersex out there as well. This is horrendous. This is indoctrination, and this needs to stop happening in Church of England schools, and the Church of England needs to step in very heavily and stop this woke ideology happening and the indoctrination of children. It is horrendous.